Hi, I'm professional sports handicapper Ross Benjamin of RBWins.com. It's Friday, May 22nd. It's time for another edition of my NFL regular season win totals, Chapter 12 of a 32-part series. Today's stop will be in Atlanta, and you can see Mercedes-Benz Stadium in the background in Atlanta. Folks, get used to that sight because there's going to be probably no fans in the stands when the season begins. You never know. But that's where it's pointing to right now. Anyway, the Atlanta Falcons right now, they're over and under. Win total is 7.5. You go over the total of 7.5 at money line odds of -125 and under 7.5 regular season wins at +105. The Falcons finished 7-9 a season ago, and they started 2-7. And Dan Quinn looked like he was going to be out the door, but his team battled for him, didn't quit on Quinn. They finished the year by winning 5 of their last 7 to go 7-9. And Quinn comes back for another year, but he's, right now going into the season, I would say he's on one of the 5 top hot seats in the NFL in terms of head coaches. Since going to the Super Bowl and losing to New England back in that 2017 Super Bowl, the Falcons are just 25-25. They've gone 7-9 in each of the last 2 years, and during that 2-year period, they're just 6-14 versus non-division opponents. And it's not going to get easier within their division as well. We all know how good the New Orleans Saints were last year, have been over the last decade, and they're going to be just as good, if not better, this year. And then Tampa Bay obviously has upgraded with quarterback Tom Brady and tight end Rob Gronkowski to go along with those terrific 3 wide receivers. So it's not going to be an easy schedule for Atlanta. You look at the road games this season: at Kansas City, at Minnesota, at Green Bay, at Dallas, at New Orleans, at Tampa Bay. Their home schedule isn't quite as tough, although they do face the Seattle Seahawks at home, which the Seahawks were a playoff team a season ago. So it's not going to be a picnic in terms of their schedule. Now, last year, moving the ball wasn't Atlanta's problem. They have stellar players in terms of their offensive skill positions, starting with quarterback Matt Ryan, and then you have wide receivers Julio Jones, one of the best in the game, along with Calvin Ridley, who could stretch the field. And this year they did lose tight end Austin Hooper to free agency, signing with the Browns, but they replaced him by making a trade for Baltimore tight end Hayden Hurst. Now, when you look at Hurst's numbers, they weren't real impressive last year, but I think he'll flourish in this offense. And keep in mind, Baltimore's top tight end Mark Andrews got most of the targets last year. So I think with being the number 1 tight end and getting a lot more targets, I think you're going to see a career year this year from Hayden Hurst. The running game leaves a lot to be desired. Last year, they were one of the worst running games in the NFL. They did go out and get Todd Gurley from the LA Rams, but the offensive line looks like it's going to continue to be a problem. That's an offensive line that allowed 50 sacks a season ago on top of their dismal rushing attack. And it puts a lot of pressure on Atlanta's passing game. If you can't run the ball and you can't protect the quarterback, puts you an awful lot of 3rd and longs. And sometimes the average total offense, like Atlanta had last year, they were 5th overall, almost 380 yards a game. It's a bit deceiving since they were playing from behind a lot and were behind the sticks a lot. So teams were giving them stuff underneath. Having said all that, their defense, last year, 23rd in total defense, bottom half of the league. The problem with the defense is the opposite end of the spectrum is the offense, who couldn't protect the quarterback. This defense had a heck of a time of getting to the quarterback. Only 28 sacks last year. I don't see a heck of a lot of improvement on their current roster and depth chart as far as improving that pass rush. I like their secondary. It's very young, but you're hanging them out to dry. A very young secondary without a pass rush spells trouble, folks. So I don't like Atlanta's defense at all. I think we're going to see a microcosm of what we saw last year, an offense that can move the ball up and down the field and a defense that just can't stop anybody. I like the Atlanta Falcons to go under 7.5 regular season wins at moneyline odds of plus 105. Next up will be the New Orleans Saints. Until then, have a happy Memorial Day weekend. Take care, be responsible, be safe, and God bless.